Hello, everybody. Welcome to Mandatory Mando, the Mandalorian after show.
The only one on the internet.
The only one on the internet.
Yeah, honestly.
We might have to move these to Wednesday night right after the thing happens. Like 2 a.m. Hi,
I'd
everybody.
do that.
You want to do that?
Yeah.
No,
Abby, you host it.
I'll
watch
just
it
be
the
me.
next
I've
day.
done it. Yeah, I'll do it again.
I'll watch it.
it would be 4 a.m. for us.
Dude,
That's
watch
a great time slot on television.
Jacob, have you ever watched it at like 3 a.m? Have you ever done one of those?
Only when we were watching Obi-Wan, but that was
Oh, right.
we were, in California, so it was midnight. It wasn't. No, I can't. These there's some great stuff in some of these shows, but they're not stay up until 4 a.m. great.
So
They're
there's
just not.
remember that time we were at a Star Wars celebration and literally everybody we were there with got to go to the premiere of Obi-Wan?
Yeah.
Like it almost felt like
This is the origin of our trauma.
But then they moved it up
Right,
anyway.
right.
But then we still didn't watch it because weren't we at Disney World?
we're at Disney
We're
World. or
complaining.
Disneyland.
We're at Disney World and we're
Yeah.
like fucking
Yeah.
complaining about not watching Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And then we stayed up and watched it at midnight, which was whatever 3 o'clock our time.
Right.
Yeah.
We stayed up and watched it, and it was not great.
Yeah. I think I woke up and watched it again kind of foggily. I was like, let's see what's
I remember
happening
Jake
here.
was like, "It's weird that it's about Leia." Oh, they probably won't stick with that. Oh. Well, anyways, we're here, everybody. We appreciate you being here. Like, we're not gonna lie, like live streaming on the new YHS channel. We're just getting it off the ground, so we appreciate you guys being here. And we're gonna be doing this every week. Normally, we'd have a special guest, but it's just us, just the classic.
Wow, thanks everyone.
Everybody bailed. Everyone was like, "I've got kids, I've got a life, I got a job," and I was just like, "I got a couple of
I
those."
guarantee you Ryan's in the chat.
Yeah.
Just
He'll pop
watching
in.
like a little jerk.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. Well, listen, let's not waste any time because this was an insane episode. I think we can all agree an improvement over week one. And let's just roundtable it, and I'll kind of give the old stats here. So, chapter 18, The Mines of Mandalore. Good
Not
title.
Moria.
Wait, what?
Isn't that Lord of the Rings?
Oh yeah.
Gloria.
Mhm.
So this was the second episode of season 3. I really enjoyed it. I was trying to get who the director was. I knew it was a director, Rachel Morrison. So that wasn't a name that I was as
I
familiar
think it
with.
was I think maybe this was their first
Directing on Mandalorian.
Yeah, I think
Very
so.
cool.
I think I read that.
I was looking at her Wikipedia to see what else she's done, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Let's roundtable it. Jacob, I'll start with you,
Okay.
and then we'll say hi to the chat here in a couple minutes, and we'll get into it. So, Jake, Mandalorian, episode 2, season 3. What'd you think?
I thought it was much better than last week. Am I supposed to be giving it a ranking?
Oh yeah, how many
Is that what
credits?
you want me to do?
How many credits do you give this thing?
I think I probably give this episode a 7 to a 7.5.
7.5 credits. Okay, that's good. That's good.
Mhm.
What about it? What stood out for you? Okay, did we freeze?
I think Jacob might have frozen.
Jacob might have frozen. Okay.
Lost you guys. I'm back.
Okay,
I lost you there.
let's try that
I didn't hear
again.
anything you said.
All right, let's try it again. What stood out about this episode for you that gives it 7.5 credits?
It was just more. It felt more like a Mandalorian episode. I felt like there was a little more importance, and it wasn't just the Like they got right into doing the bathing, and I mean not to jump the gun, but like the very very ending of the episode is kind of a big Star Wars deal.
Right.
Hell yeah.
That alone, the fact that there was a Balrog in the water.
That's what I fucking thought too.
Abby was
Motherfucking
like,
underwater
"What?"
Balrog.
Yeah, it just it had some really fun callbacks to the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy, and it actually felt like we were building towards something. There was some good story. It was cool to see. I feel like they're teasing some stuff with Grogu. We're teasing him. He's going to be talking soon, and I think they're setting that up. I really hope he sounds like Ike from South Park, and they just get a little kid to do his voice, you know?
Oh yeah.
That's really funny.
But yeah, it just felt like a more, I don't know, concentrated episode. Like they knew what they were doing. And
Mhm.
Right.
yeah.
Mhm.
This is a good comment. Wesley in the chat says, this episode was a Jake episode for sure. Cut out the bullshit we don't need. It got straight to the good stuff.
There you go.
There you go.
That's what happened.
Abigail, how many credits?
I gave this, not surprising for me because I tend to be pretty high with my credits that I give, at 9.7.
Okay.
Now, this episode had everything. You had a Mythosaur sighting. You had Pelimoto at the beginning, who is my favorite character, aside from Din. So it was really nice to see that and to see the Boon to Eve classic reference. Excuse me, and to see the fireworks from Boon to Eve and to get that excitement, which I'm wearing my shirt from the Phantom Menace, was like, that was really fun for me in the beginning. And then as the episode continued, you got to see Grogu as he's growing, and he's developing his force powers and using them for self-defense, and he's going on a mission on his own. And I loved seeing him go through that coming of age process, that like being a badass, and like saving the Mandalorian, that's really cool.
He had like
he
he had a
doing
mission to
solo
go
mission,
on.
exactly.
Yeah, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could just go ahead and say I would give this a solid 8 credits. I think that it was a longer episode. It pushed the story forward. One thing that Mandalorian is really good about is that, like, I think a lot of people last week, and I thought there was a lot of people speculating that, you know, they were going to stretch this trip back to Mandalore out all season, right? But just like, you know, in season 2 of Mandalorian, like, no, we're going. Like, it's happening. We're done. Like, we're taking Grogu to the Jedi Rock today. We're not delaying it.
Yeah, and we found out that Din, you know, he's the kind of guy who goes for a swim in the ocean with his shirt on.
Yeah, what in the fuck though? Because I'm like, does it really count if your skin's not getting touched?
There's always that kid at the water park wearing a tank top and sweatpants. Like, what are you doing? Why are you in the pool?
Didn't plan to be here today.
I
wanted to give a shout out, to the chat, to a comment from Chris Daughtry. Loved that Bad Batch and Mandalorian both had stubborn, stuck in their way characters. See that they may be wrong.
Right.
And we're not going to talk about Bad Batch all night, but I saw the episode and it was incredible. And I really liked seeing that transformation.
That was another big part of this episode, right? Is this kind of battle of wits between Bo-Katan and Din. And it seems like maybe she's like, oh, it's always funny in these shows where she's like hardline stuck in her way of thinking. And like, your version of being a Mandalorian is wrong. This is not the way. I'm just going to sit here in my castle and be bad all the time. And then she goes and sees, and like, she's like, oh, maybe there's
I love
there's something more to this.
When they land and she like looks at Grogu and is like, can you guide me? Like, will you be able to do this? And he like makes a little noise and it kind of sounds like he's like, bitch, just fucking keep up with me. Like, just try and follow me because I'm like the best at all of these things.
Right.
Yeah.
So definitely a really fun episode, a lot to unpack. Let's go ahead and kind of start talking about it here. Let's go ahead and say to the hi to the chat first, because there's people filing in here. Mike Davis, hello. Action Packed Video, Nelson, Chris Daughtry, Wesley Williams, Brian Brink is here. Visual Hierarchy, Tony Taylor, A. Troy, Silver K, Stephen Lawrence, lots of familiar names. We appreciate you guys being here. And we are going to be doing this every Thursday, so strap in. Okay, so the episode, I only watched the episode once, so Abby watched it more recently than me, so I might need a couple refreshers as far as the cadence of these things. But we do go back to Tatooine, and one thing I really like about Mandalorian is that Tatooine is kind of like a home base. Like, the first time they went, it kind of felt like special. Like, I can't believe they're going to Tatooine. And now it's like Pelimoto's like at her garage is almost like, you play a video game and like you keep going back to like the one spot because that's like where you store
recharge. Yeah. Home base.
Yeah. It's like your home base. So we've got this scene with Pelimoto. She's what is she? She's repairing a ship. And
She's ripping off a rodeo.
Oh yeah, she's ripping off the Greedo looking guy.
Yeah, exactly. With the Jawas and R5-D4.
Yeah, so this R5 stuff's pretty interesting because this is now I couldn't remember. Obviously, this is R5 from A New Hope, but I couldn't remember if we had seen R5 on Mando before.
I think so. I think there's a couple instances of him kind of being in the background. I think he's in a cantina at some point.
Okay,
cool. But this was his moment to shine.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if it was his moment to shine. He's kind of the worst character in the episode. He doesn't do anything but get his ass beat up by a couple mutants.
Did you know
those are cool looking mutants?
In the
he gets called a coward. He's a fucking droid.
In the
I think he's cool.
I was reading today that in the extended universe, I think it was one of the comics, they revealed that R5 was force sensitive. So I'm glad
they also reveal in the extended stuff that he sacrifices himself and blows up on purpose so R2 gets picked.
That's what I was reading.
So fucking
he's a little hero.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That's
you don't think that he sent a secret message from R2?
In a world of Star Wars where there's so many dumb things, that's the dumbest.
That's funny.
Some guy wrote like a whole story about it. I don't know if it's technically fan fiction or if it's part of any canon. But yeah, I was looking that stuff up.
I think it was probably in some comics or something.
Okay.
Something that doesn't count anymore.
Right.
Ooh.
Well, let's just R5's probably had a tough life. Okay. So he's finally gets to do something.
Picked over. Picked on.
It kind of makes me wonder, they made such a big deal about trying to restore IG-11. It kind of feels like if they want to, they could just abandon that plan at this point.
Well, they do. Because he goes by himself, because as soon as he sends R5, he falls off the map and he's got to go anyway. So all he does is seals up his mask. Why do we have a whole episode of him going through trouble of trying to get IG when he can just do it himself? And he does it himself.
Now, did you guys see
what's the point?
Did you guys see Dan Larson, his theory about Grogu in this episode? He's kind of, I think he's joking, but so people were trying to figure out the schematics of the
ship,
the N1, how Grogu's popping out from the back and then popping up in the front.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Dan suspects that Grogu has mastered the ability to go to the world between worlds.
He's phasing between. It's easier for him to believe that than there's a tunnel.
There's a little tunnel.
Yeah, there's got to be a little pop open door.
It's just like a curtain, and he just slide. There's a little slide for him.
Troy, it was one of the Bantam short story collections. It was canon until Disney wiped it out. Hey, she's
best thing Disney ever did.
Always coming. She's like a on the spot fact checker. Right? We need that.
Good.
Trust me.
Yeah.
Do not know what we're talking about 95% of the time. So they load up R5, and then we're going to basically travel with Mando and Grogu and R5 to Mandalore, right? And this was kind of I really like the way they show them coming into the atmosphere. It was really visually really well done. I thought it was really cool. But the whole point was they don't know if the air is breathable. They don't know what the toxicity level is, even though you would think at some point somebody would have.
Well, isn't it weird? So Bo-Katan is on the planet that's right next to Mandalore. He tells Grogu this is Mandalore. Bo-Katan's right here in this. So you're telling me if that's where she lives, at no point she's ever just I'm just going to go check it out. I'm just going to go see what it's like.
No.
Why?
Stubborn.
You're all wearing state-of-the-art space suits. Just go. It's so easy he just shows up and he's like, oh, cool. Yeah, this is breathable.
Yeah.
They do talk about how it's hard for her to go and look at it when they're walking, her and Mando.
Right.
Because emotionally, that's where she grew up and where her family was the literally reigning family.
Yeah.
So maybe it was for emotional reasons she didn't want to go back.
Also, she loves sitting in that chair.
But instead, she sets up in the planet right next to it. So she's got to see it every time she comes in or off world.
Same neighborhood.
It's a big universe. I don't
She
want
can
to
go
know
into it.
about it, but it's right there.
I do like the scene where Mando's teaching Grogu like how to use the maps.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's like, and that's a moon, and that's a moon, and we could go there if we wanted to. It's like really basic. Like this was Tony Taylor brings this up, and I'm glad he did because I did like this episode. But Tony says Mando looks like an idiot most of the episode. Lots of obvious setups and payoffs. Just gave up on trusting IG-11. Could have just sealed his helmet and tested the planet this whole time. Yeah, there's maybe Din's. He's going through a lot.
Sure.
Well, he's pushing himself to go through a lot, yeah, and that
Yeah.
maybe makes him not make the best decisions.
I want to go back to Tatooine real quick, Abby.
Mm-hmm.
The Boot to Eve Classic. I knew about the Boot to Eve Classic. I knew about the pod race, but it never once occurred to me to like figure out what Boot to Eve, what the holiday was. So I had to go read about it.
Tell me what you read.
Well, it's about the Bunta Hastilic Shadru. He was a Hutt who he evolved, or he died, and he became a god basically, and they celebrate him now by having a pod race, which I think is really funny. But I thought it was really cool. I like the fireworks and stuff. It felt really special. Like made me want to celebrate.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. I thought it was cool watching Grogu like see fireworks and get excited and be childlike, and then go to another planet and kind of grow up.
Yeah.
I just wish they would have cut to some of the locals just being like, God, with the fireworks, they all the time. My dogs are scared.
Yeah,
The fireworks last for a whole week.
You get on.
Can't call them the Kawaki monkey lizards down, screaming.
You get on the Tatooine next door page. They're like, was that laser cannons or fireworks? Oh my god. Okay, so they get to the planet and they send R5 into the cave. And is that the cadence, right? They land kind of near the city center or whatever.
He makes R5 go.
Mm-hmm.
He's right away wiped off the map.
Yeah, his signal drops.
Right, right. So they go in after him, right? And I really like
Mando goes.
Oh, Mando goes, and this is where they encounter the troll,
the mutant things.
Do we have a name on those guys?
Yeah, I have it written down.
There's a name, yeah.
Hold up.
See, this is what's hard because they're introducing. It's not like it's a Wookiee. We just know it's a Wookiee. They're introducing new stuff every episode.
I like the music once they land on Mandalore is like acoustic guitar with reverb on it, and it sounded like a really long intro to like a new metal band from the 2000s, and I was like, oh, I like this music.
Yeah, I only have them written down as Fraggle Rock Modocs because that's what they look like to me.
That is what they look like, but if somebody
or Morlocks, sorry,
if somebody in the chat has the name on those guys, but there's a bunch of these like troll creatures that are in kind of dwelling in this cave, and so Mando goes in. I think we get some dark saber action. He's wielding it. It's really I always forget he has the dark saber. So when he pulls it out and he starts using it, it's actually
because he's not good at it yet. So he doesn't.
Right.
I think he on purpose doesn't really like using it.
The Gizmodo article said that the creatures look like hairless versions of Sweetums.
I don't know if you've ever seen the Time Machine movie came out. 2000s.
Yeah, that's what they look like.
They look just like the mutants from the Time Machine, which is
like
why I keep calling them mutants.
Yeah. So what happens next?
Well, then him and Grogu, after he defeats the mutants, him and Grogu go down.
Right.
They go down the mines, and then they take a walk, and then there are like crocodiles in the sewers with wings.
Those are cool.
Yeah, I like them.
And then there's a big thing that happens.
Right. And I really, before we get there, I love the visual of like, Grogu in his pram and, Mando using his rocket pack and them like descending together. It felt very video game like.
Yeah.
It actually felt like the tutorial level of a video game, like press R1 to descend with Grogu. and then I keep dying because I'm really bad at video
Because
games.
you
Guess
press
you
the
didn't-
button, you go too fast.
Because I go too fast. I
Right,
press the
didn't
wrong
pay
button.
attention during the
Dropped.
tutorial.
But I thought that stuff was really cool.
Yeah, those creatures are called alamites, and I thought they were really cool too. They have like a dragon wing and glowing
the
eyes.
crocodile things.
Yeah, they're super cool.
I was trying to find some screenshots. I know this is a little bit blurry, but here's a shot of the dark saber in action with the troll guys. Okay, so they're traveling down and down and down, and this is where they encounter what are we calling this thing? The spider
Well,
Grievous?
he picks up like he sees some remnants of some Mandalorians, picks up a helmet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And it's a trap.
And then he gets trapped by this
right.
mecha
large
eyeball monster.
robot that is very Grievous like.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What do we think of this from a creature design?
It's very cool. I think it's very cool. The effects, the CGI looked really good. It was creepy looking. It was different enough from other things you see in Star Wars. It didn't feel too like derivative of other things except for General Grievous.
Right.
But I wonder what they're doing here because it's very Grievous. No part of me thinks it's Grievous, right? People on the internet are like, there are people on the internet who think it's Grievous. I don't think it's Grievous, but even the noises when it grunts, I looked it up, and from what I read, they even used some of Grievous's sound effects for it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And now that could have been, I don't know if that's true, but I read that. So I was like, what the fuck? I mean, it's very, very Grievous-like. And I don't know if there's a reason or if it's just supposed to be an Easter egg or what the deal is. But I loved this thing. It was creepy and weird, and it's like draining his blood.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I really like the design too. I hadn't really gotten to that thought of could it be like Grievous's consciousness or like an early form, because you see that head crawl off like a little Krang with like roach legs.
Well, that was the thing when they opened it up. I thought it was gonna be like a full guy inside, but it's an even weirder thing.
It's just that. I mean, Grievous was 2 eyes and like lungs, basically, or a heart or something. This looks like it's got a biological eye, and whatever else is biological is just in that head part. That's why it has the body, which looks like Grievous's body. It's all hunched over and shit.
Yeah.
And then it can detach from that and attach itself to the big robot.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got 3 forms basically, but it's just the little, it's just the, the biological is just the eye.
Sentience.
Basically.
Yeah.
We're gonna find out that it's Cobb Vanth. This is the result of the mods he gets.
Somebody
He's gotta
didn't
drink
know when to
everybody's
stop
blood.
modding.
Yeah. They over modded him.
Yeah. I love Grievous's design, so I really thought this creature was cool too, Jacob. It was like super sadistic and diabolical, and just like it wanted to see pain and kind of enjoyed it. Putting Mando on that Spitfire thing and then like draining it, like all that stuff. I was like, God, this thing is just evil in like a robot form.
Chris has a good point. Sound engineer Matthew Wood, who does a lot of stuff for Star Wars, and he does the voice of Grievous. So yeah, probably some similarities there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was cool. And like I was expecting, like, my brain always, I'm like simple Star Wars fan because I was like, is that Darth Maul in there? Like, I'm so dumb. But like don't say that out loud.
That publicly.
Yeah.
Hey, delete. Can we delete that?
Season 2 of Rebels.
Can we delete that?
Yes, here we go. Deleted.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do like a Men in Black thing.
It's wiped.
So Mando's trapped, and you see him take his gun and the dark saber and kind of toss it aside. And he tells, I didn't know what was going to happen here. My assumption was Grogu was just going to do some force sensitive stuff and save him, but he tries, doesn't work. And he goes, he tells Grogu to find Bo-Katan, which is interesting to me because to me, it's like almost like by getting Bo-Katan to see all of this, you're achieving a couple things from a story point, right? Like obviously she's, like Jake said, she's in the moon next door. So she's the closest person. She's capable of helping, but also she'll see Mandalore and what's going on there. And that's what happens. So Grogu strolls back to the N1 and goes on a little little solo mission, which I
Yeah.
thought was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like when he gets in the. First of all, he defeats one of those mutants by himself. And
Oh,
then,
yeah.
I like when he gets in the ship. He just points. He's like looks over at R5 and he's just like, "Go here."
Yeah. He's
yeah.
fully capable. He's like one of those kids going out on an errand. On
I mean, he's like 54 years old. It's about time he starts pulling his own weight.
Gotta do something.
Right,
But yeah,
yeah.
he encounters one of the troll beasts, and you see it fly out of the cave.
Mhm.
It would be amazing. It would be amazing to get that as a toy. Or we won't, but it would be amazing. Okay, so then cut over to Bo-Katan. Her droid dude comes in. He's like, "Hey, we have an unexpected visitor." And it's the same guy who was here yesterday, I think, because you see the N1 coming in.
Yeah.
And then she communicates with Grogu, right? She's like, "Where the
Sort of.
fuck?" Kind of. She's like, "Where's Mando?"
She's like mad at first and then
yeah.
realizes-
What do you think she's feeling at this point?
Well, she told him to go away. She's mad. I mean, she's mad because he's got the saber and she wants the saber. She doesn't want to see him. She doesn't, that's not
Right.
So she's like, "Leave me. I don't want to help you. You have what I want."
Yeah.
So
she's
he's
still
coming
bitter.
back. She's annoyed. So she's
Right.
like, "What the fuck, dude? I don't care."
Well, also, like, it's probably that thing, like, from a character standpoint, like, Mando also doesn't care about the saber. That has to drive her
Right.
insane. Because
Yeah.
he can't
Yeah.
tried to give it. He tried to give it to her. you know?
Right.
Mhm.
Why can't they do like a fake pretend battle? That's what I would do.
I mean, why can't listen at this point? Mandalore's gone. It's in ruins. Half of you take your helmet off and don't care. The other half, you can do whatever you want at this point. You
Right.
could give her the Darksaber and nobody's gonna fucking complain about it.
Right.
Mhm.
You're picking and choosing what rules you follow anyway.
Yeah, and she does say that line. She says, "Let's get rid of him once and for all."
Yeah.
Which I was like, is she gonna try to kill him? Like what is the deal here? But she's just kind of over it. So then they go back, which was kind of funny. Like they're just kind of going back and forth and back and forth. Like if they wanted to, they could have stretched this out for like 4 episodes. But it tells me they have some really big stuff coming up. That's kind of the vibe I get. If they're covering this much ground in this one episode.
Right.
Mhm.
Abby, anything else to say about this interaction between Bo-Katan and Baby Grogu?
No, except for that, I felt like Grogu was kind of in charge of all of it, and calling the shots. And I thought Bo-Katan kind of like maybe experienced a little bit of humbling and maybe started to relate to Grogu because she started opening up about the Jedi and how that 'cause
Oh,
she was like,
right.
"Oh, we used to get along with you guys, and it was different back then." And so
Right.
she's coming to terms with the fact that things have changed. And once she gets down to the mines and sees the destruction, it hits her. And I think she's more somber when she drops down on that trip. And it actually kind of bothered me because her and Grogu like have a nice conversation. I'm like, you guys need to be hurrying the fuck up to go and rescue Din right now. But I thought that was really good stuff. And Ryan's here.
And Ryan's here.
Hey.
We already talked about Pelimoto, Ryan.
That's fine. I have bigger fish to fry on this episode. But we'll
Okay.
get there.
Okay, we'll get there. I did think hi Ryan. I did think it was interesting that she is kind of opening up to him a little bit because I see there's almost some parallels in Bo-Katan's like the way she's holding on to the traditions of her past. It's kind of reminds me of Luke Skywalker. There's like some stubbornness there. She's not really listening and paying attention and necessarily doing what's best for her, much like Luke Skywalker just decided to go live on an island by himself. She's like, I'm just going to sit in this castle. I'm going to sulk and I'm mad and I want my Darksaber and I'm not just going to show up with a laser sword and take down the whole First Order. That's a real line from Star Wars, just putting it out there.
Okay.
Anyways, Ryan, how are you? Were you watching? Do you know where we are?
I
here?
wasn't. I was like in meetings and catching up with artists and crazy stuff. And then I was like, you know what? I need a break. I need to talk some Star Wars. I need a mental refresh. So yeah. Are you just asking where are we at with Bo? Where do I feel we're at with Bo?
Well, you can tell us what you thought of the episode, and then we're just at we were kind of covering it linearly. Why do I always try
Don't worry, we're at the point where Bo comes back to
Hold
rescue.
on. The look Abby just gave me was the biggest eat shit look of all time because I always try that
Just
word.
back away from it. It's okay. There's other words.
Just say
synonyms.
linear.
Anyways.
Yeah, that's where we are, Ryan.
Okay.
The rescue mission.
Okay. I thought this episode was great. It was a lot of fun to watch. This still, particularly that's on the screen right now, I remember they were always talking about it was like playing with their toys, their old toys, but they had to play with the leftovers of the toys. And now I feel that they made enough characters and toys that now we get to intermingle other toys that don't usually get to mingle together. So the fact that we're getting R5, Grogu, and Bo-Katan cruising through a storm is just like, this is what my parents got me for my birthday, so these are my 3 new favorite toys, and I'm going to play with them.
Right.
And
It doesn't make sense on paper until you see it.
You're right. Exactly. Right. And so I love that. And you were talking about Bo-Katan like starting to open up and like her and Din listening to each other. I think they're going to hook up.
Me too, Ryan. I wrote that down. I was like, what the fuck does the future hold for these two? They're sharing soup.
I want some romance back in my Star Wars. Star Wars has been pretty dry downstairs for like the last 5 things.
Get some living waters back.
Yeah, like Andor was the closest we got to anything, and even that was just like kind of brushed off because he was in the shower hiding things in a shoebox. But it was like, but even like in Rise of Skywalker, it was just like Kylo and Rey making out for a hot second, and she's like, "Oh, I just sucked out your tongue and stole your life force. Bye." Right? Like it was just so weird.
Yeah,
and
we
so
come from the we come from the world where brothers and sisters are kissing in Star Wars. It used to be weird.
So I want more smooching. I want Bo-Katan and Din to make out and dry hump on the hood of an N1 starfighter.
Hey, I really like Bo-Katan's ship, by the way. It's cool to see
I
that
love it.
in live action form, and I think I like the way
the Galactic Micro Collection sell out of those this week?
Probably. So listen, they make it back, and it's kind of funny. They do all the same stuff. Like Grogu's like, "Oh, I'm an old hand at this. I know how to go through these caves. I know where to go. Like, don't worry."
I know where the gators pop out.
Yeah.
But this is where all the foreshadowing starts. They really heavily, like, Bo-Katan is like, who knows what else might be alive down there? You know what I mean? It's like, okay, come on.
On my second watch of the episode, I was like, all right. Like
There's multiple hints to the mythosaur before you actually see the mythosaur. And it's like,
I wasn't even thinking about it's funny. I wasn't even going. My brain was just like, oh, maybe she's talking about other colonies of Mandalorians.
Well, she says that. She says that, and 3 minutes later, she gives you the entire history of the mythosaur, just so nobody is confused at what they're about to see. Because it's like, she literally stops what they're doing. She goes, "Hold on, Din. I want to give you the tour." That's the line. She says that. "Let me give you the tour." Walks over to a plaque and just reads you exposition about what the mythosaur is, because I know not everybody watching Mandalorian knows what a mythosaur is. So.
Right. Well, and she says
she's talking symbol.
She's talking about the creatures, the little, what are they called? The Dolomites?
Which ones?
Yes,
that's me.
What are you talking about?
The little.
Those are my people, Craig. Do you mind?
Dolomite.
The Alamites. Okay.
Yeah.
The Dolomites.
Oh yeah, how they lived on the surface.
Somebody draw Ryan Dole's face on one of those things. But that's you're right, Jake. She says, they used to live in the wastelands.
Yeah.
I wonder what other creatures could survive.
With the mustache.
So okay, cool. So then they make their way back.
I also want to point
Mando.
out one other thing when she's given the tour.
Yeah.
Something that kind of bummed me out just a little bit. And I was really hoping she was going to name drop her sister. Because she was like, I used to be royalty here. And
right.
I was really kind of hoping they were going to mention, like, and we got along fine because my sister used to bone Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Obi-Wan, yeah.
Yeah,
to
they even
Obi-Wan?
had an illegitimate kid that also died in Clone Wars. Spoiler.
Hello there. Hello
Hey,
there.
could be the next movie.
Well, I got a serious question about the mythosaur.
Let's do it.
Do you think now they're going to rename it the Factosaur?
Why?
Well, because it's not a myth.
Oh wow, that is a correct joke if I ever heard one.
It's called the Mythosaur because it's a fucking myth and nobody believes that it's actually real.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Jacob,
I was a fan of the
stop
design.
calling Craig every day. No more jokes like that from you.
Hey, I thought that was I give that joke 10 credits. Oh,
Yeah,
that was pretty cool. So they make their way back, and she's like, "Oh shit, this spider creature has Mando." And let me ask you guys about. It was cool, but let me ask you guys about the dark saber here, okay? Because I like I said, Bo-Katan's she picks up the dark saber, right, and she uses it.
Yeah.
I thought the whole thing was that like if you didn't write, if you're not worthy, maybe she's worthy, but she can't own it.
But hasn't she? No, I don't think it's a worthiness. It's you. She's had it before, hasn't she?
Right. Yeah.
So she knows how to wield it. That's what it is. She's had practice with it. Din doesn't know what he's fucking doing. He doesn't care about the. He just doesn't. He doesn't care about that. So it's different for him. She knows about it. She's owned it before. She's practiced with it. So of course she's better at it than he is.
Din is the equivalent of a dude who buys a guitar, has it in his room, and never plays it.
Yeah.
And that is him with this bloody dark saber, because he's had it for what now, 3 years, and he still can't lift the damn thing. Yeah,
which like that, that also whatever, man.
That's even you in there.
That goes right back to what we were just talking about. How he's such a stickler for the not taking your helmet off and shit. But he's like, what's this? I don't fucking care about this thing. It's like it's part of your fucking thing, dude.
Yeah, but it's we talked about it last year, like or last week. There's like within Christianity, there's different sectors, and some of them really care about drinking the blood of Christ and eating the crackers. The other ones are
Catholicism.
Like, the Catholic people are like, eat that cracker. The other ones are like, I don't give a fuck about that cracker.
Comparative religions.
Yeah, we don't care about that. How about we just marry a bunch of teenagers?
Oh, God.
This went south very fast.
So did they.
So did they.
Well, that's where they live.
That's where they
Bible
live. South.
Okay, so they do the rescue, and Din, like, God, he's like, I owe you a debt. Like, it's like we know it's like the only people that treat owing somebody as seriously as Din is like Dwight on The Office. Like, remember that whole episode where like he can't be indebted to Andy, like can't sleep.
Or like Lannisters from Game of Thrones.
Oh,
yeah, pay your debts.
They always pay their debts.
Yeah.
Speaking of brothers and sisters kissing.
Oh man, they took it like way. We all know. Here's the funny thing: we're all grossed out by Game of Thrones, but we all know Luke and Leia did after the Battle of Yavin too. So let's not judge too hard. That's still gross, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and then when Luke comes and pushes Grogu out the window. I love fantasy. What can I say? Okay. So this is where they do the tour, right? So they go to the civic center, and she
defeats Grievous first.
She defeats the
or
creature.
Whatever it is.
Yeah, and they talk and they have soup, and then she's like, I can show you because I know where it is. Follow me.
What's the conversation?
He is the robot. He's the evil robot version of the shell with shoes.
Yeah, dude, Ryan, you've seen that?
Dude, it's like I've seen all the shorts that led up to that.
You did? Okay.
I haven't actually watched it yet. Yeah.
We'll talk about that off this. Yeah, they have like a fireside chat and make pog soup, and she like shames Din. She's like, you've never had this? This is what your people are like raised on. Yeah. And that's where I felt like there was a romantic spark of like she's showing that she cares. She's making food for him. Like I
didn't get the romantic thing at all, but
really
maybe but maybe I just need to rewatch it with that. Well, I need to rewatch it with that in mind, maybe. But there was no part of me. She seems annoyed with him the entire. There's no part of me that thinks she's like, ooh. She seems like she fucking hates him.
No.
Seems like she's all like so annoyed.
That's how
she's
a lot of
so
great
annoyed.
relationships start, though.
Dude, when he's all like,
Abby,
I wish I met your father. And she's
because they're like on each other's nerves.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but that
dude.
annoys her that he said. I don't think she's like, yeah, okay.
Oh no, dude. It's like Lucy and Charlie Brown. Like there's tension.
Yeah. 100%.
I don't know. I didn't get it.
She seems annoyed that I think she.
I
really,
thought there was more between the Mythosaur and Mandalorian, honestly.
Mythosaur seemed to have a thing for Mando.
That's a factosaur. I think though. Listen, I think
Actosaurus
that
Rex.
I think part of what she's going through is like she's probably has a lot of conflict, right? Because she's believed this place was cursed and inhabitable, and she finds out it's not, and she goes there, but she's also seeing like the ruins of what was once, this beautiful place that she ruled and with her family, and was destroyed by the Empire. So I'm sure there's a lot of
mixed feelings.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
she talks about her dad, and then Din's like, this is the way, because she talks about how her dad sacrificed himself to save Mandalore. And
right.
That's where I was like, oh, they have a common.
Yeah, but she seemed annoyed by that.
I think she just always does. I think
to me, that seemed like he was like, oh, that's the way it should be. And she's like, fuck you. That was my dad, and he's fucking dead for your dumbass religion. That's what I got out of that.
I think she just has resting annoyed face.
Yeah.
That's possible. Or you guys are reaching.
Allison says, in Star Wars, if you hate a man, you're in love. Han and Leia, C-3PO and R2-D2, Maul and Kenobi, it's canon. It's that tension. It's that
3PO and R2? Oh, I love that.
I'm like, hey, that's your factosaur right there.
That's a factosaur.
That's your factosaur. Yes.
We need a new segment every week where Jacob Walsh reads factosaurs. I love
Factosaur.
That. Yeah.
Factosaur. Facts.
It's like Mandalorian Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Factosaur. This is the way. Okay, so yeah, speaking of this is the way, he's like, I'm gonna go find the waters now, and she's like, you'll never find it without me. God damn it.
It's literally right down this path you were already on.
I feel like there's a concession on her part to go and show him, because she's like, I kind of like you.
Well, she thought like this is Abby.
Have to do that.
She thought like we all did, like, a normal person takes a bath and takes off their Beskar armor.
Yes, and her and Grogu give each other the eye before, when he starts taking off like the cape and the accoutrement.
She's all like,
she
was
went
doing this with her armor. I was like, what is she doing?
No, she went because she wanted to see him realize he was wrong.
That's true. That is 100%.
That's why she went.
I can see that.
And she's shot, and she's clearly, even though she's wearing a helmet, she's clearly shocked when she realizes, oh, maybe I'm a little wrong here.
Right.
When they see the mythosaur. But yeah, that's why she goes. And she's even like, well, maybe he did. But she's like, she even is like, are you okay? And then he starts doing his, he starts, reciting the oath or whatever. And it's like, you can see her roll her eyes at what's happening.
Abby, you love Din. You never loved a religious guy like this.
No,
he's so religious.
Yeah, it's not what I grew up with, for sure. He's definitely like devout, and he's pure, and he's very kind, and yeah, he's a great character.
He's not using his religion to like fuck with people.
That's true.
Yeah.
Brian Brink says, has anyone seen any sad comments about how dim this episode was? I actually saw some people comparing this episode to that one episode of Game of Thrones where it was like really dark. I didn't notice that, but I mean, it is pretty dimly lit.
They're in a cave the whole time. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was Dim Jardin's episode.
Factosaur.
If we get the Factosaur, we can say that too.
Here's some dialogue. These mines date back to the age of the first Mandalore. According to ancient folklore, the mines were once a mythosaur lair. Mandalore the Great is said to have tamed the mythical beast. It is from these legends that the skull signet was adopted and became the symbol of our planet. That's just some exposition to kind of, I think there was another Mandalorian ruler in the old canon. Was not named Mandalore the Great, but now I want to see a whole show about like they might be aiming towards a Game of Thrones style Mandalorian.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
She talks enough about her past there, and you get enough of interest in it.
Yeah.
What were you say, Jake? Oh, I thought you were going to say something. Sorry.
No.
Well, if you wanted to, you could have.
I know.
All right. So here comes Dim Craig. What happened? Why does he get sucked under? Is it the Mythosaur?
The Mythosaur.
Okay.
It is not. He just stepped off the damn ledge and he sank. It's armor.
That fast?
Yes, of course. It's Beskar.
Are we
He's
really
not
arguing
that
this?
dumb. Yeah, it's not.
No,
That's
it's immediate suction.
You didn't even know
he
what
gets
soup that
pulled.
was.
He
is
doesn't
that
fall. He doesn't fall. He is pulled.
Yeah, he's
under.
pulled under.
I believe he's pulled under too.
But she dives right in after him, real
Mhm.
quick.
Yep.
She jumps
They're in
the
love.
steps.
Yeah,
It's like a long dive.
right.
I think that's
Yeah.
something any decent person would do.
But
Whether
she's
you're
got
in love or
armor
not.
on, so it's cool.
Hey, imagine the
Yeah.
four of us or any of us, like, Din goes down, just like, well,
You go.
you go.
I don't. I got bad feet. You know.
She has to raise.
I don't know. I
Grogu.
think Abby and I'd probably get down there pretty quick because
Yeah,
it's like, hey, we might be able to give mouth to mouth to Pedro Pascal.
Oh yeah, 100%. This is worth saving.
How's about my oxygen there, buddy?
I would be like, I would go just so I could be like, I'm gonna piss him off and take his helmet off again.
Yeah, he'd be like, thanks for
Did you
saving
guys
my
see
life.
Romeo and Juliet? Did you guys see Romeo
Yeah.
and Juliet in the 90s where they made out underwater? It would be
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that, but
Yeah.
up.
Okay.
So they'd have
I love
balloons.
No, not the movie Up. They just be going up. Come on, Craig.
I love myself.
Okay.
Okay, so, and then we see the Mythosaur. They definitely, like, this was pretty prescribed that this was going to be happening. But now that this is, that's last
not
week's.
Mythosaur.
That's last week's picture.
This is this week.
And then they saw the Mythosaur. Look at him.
Mythosaur design. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. Sorry. Here's a really blurry, crappy picture of it. But
I mean, you don't. I mean, it's
Yeah,
in
it was-
shadow. You don't see it much, but I thought this was cool because, like, I mean, just like, you know, it's something we've never seen, and you've only, you know, it's literally called the Mythosaur. They didn't
Right.
get too creative when they named this thing. It's very
They
cool.
don't
to
with
see it.
anything.
right.
That's a hammerhead.
Well,
That's
I
wall,
don't know.
man.
Some names are pretty out there, but yeah, I
Right.
think it's pretty cool to see it, and I'm excited about maybe seeing it a little more clearly in a future episode.
Oh,
seeing
100%.
more of it. So
Din's going to be riding this thing.
Oh,
at
you
some
don't think
point.
Boba's gonna ride it?
Well, they said, like, they come out of the water. They used to be ridden by the old Mandalores.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, they were like their trophy beasts or something.
Companion beast?
They were their companion beasts. I just want to see. I think it's going to be a few episodes, right? I don't think it's going to be like the next episode.
right,
They bring in, yeah, they bring in Boba Fett like in this like really bad dialogue. Like, he even trained a fucking, what are the other things called? The thing, the HasLab, the
the
Rancor.
Rancor.
He trained a
Yeah.
Rancor.
Yeah.
Danny
HasLab?
Trejo comes in with it.
Oh, the HasLab monster. That's my favorite.
Letters to Patrick.
So there was some dialogue I wanted to read from the Book of Boba Fett where the armorer says, "The songs of eons past foretold of the Mythosaur rising up to herald a new age of Mandalore." So I think that might be also some foreshadowing into this could be
Like
can you
yeah,
read
well,
that
this.
again?
I mean,
him.
Hang on. I want Craig to read that again, but like he's in church. From the Book
Okay.
of Boba Fett, please open to
Yeah.
chapter
please stand.
chapter 5,
Amen.
Psalm 15. And he says,
the songs of eons past foretold of the Mythosaur rising, and he would rise up to herald a new age of the Mandalore.
Mhm.
That'll be all for
Dave was
today's.
right.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
this season's
Yeah.
this season's clearly going to end with, you know, a group of Mandalorians, the Mandalorians that we've already seen. They're living in a fucking cave right now, you know, with a box of scraps. And, clearly, by the end of the season, they're going to be back on Mandalore, and they're going to try to start rebuilding. You know, like Mandalorian's going to show that the Mythosaur exists and
Him
that
and
it's not
Bo.
poisoned, and
Right.
that's that's the end game, I guess. Why do I keep referencing Marvel?
Yeah, what's happening?
It's a real Infinity War. Hey, if this was,
and that's another reason why they should hook up too, because they'll bring both.
Sure.
That's what I'm saying. With their powers combined, if he's kind of that Neo chosen character, Jesus Christ-like figure, it's like he's gonna need a partner, and that makes so much sense to me that the two of them independently would be like the most badass.
Yeah, that we
Sure, but that to me though, that doesn't make for a good show to keep going. And it's like, well, now it's the Mandalorian and Bo-Katan and
Sure.
It's like, well, I mean, if you're ending the show.
You could end the show with him making a decision about staying or not.
Sure. Know? I mean, if the show ends for good, like I'm happy with knowing Din and Bo live together on Mandalore, and that's the rest of their story. But to me, the story doesn't make sense where it's like, now we're we're together and we're both traveling the galaxy. It's like, oh,
right,
okay.
Well, and it I don't know how long they're going to stretch this out. Jon Favreau already said they've written season 4 already, so this I say go with the long game. It's a cool story, and like if they're trying to rebuild a whole civilization, that takes time. But also, what I was going to say, if this was a movie, there would definitely, at the end of the 3-act structure. Oh, let me take everybody to film school real quick. In a 3-act,
you've been
to Dim Craig's film school.
I applied. I mean, I was going to. Listen.
Oh, you thought about it.
I thought about going. Instead, I just went to Hollywood Video and rented some movies. In a 3-act structure, at the end of the second act, when everything falls apart and everything's bad, and your character's kind of like, basically Dumb and Dumber, when they're fighting on the side of the road,
when the conflict peaks.
So I just imagine a scene where some character at some point gets fed up with hearing "This is the way" from Din, and I'm just picturing Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which he's not going to be there, but I'm just imagining, no, this is not the way. This is clearly not the way. You keep saying it's the way, and he's just like, but
this is not the way.
This is not the way. Yeah, that's exactly like you say it's the way, you act like it's the way, but clearly not the way. But I don't know. It's kind of hard to see. They've covered so much ground in this episode that who knows what's going to happen. Like I couldn't predict next week's episode if I tried.
No, but I mean, there's still plenty. There's still plenty of loose. We still got Grogu. What to do with him? What his Jedi-ness is going to come back into play. What to do with him? There's still plenty. Ahsoka is going to show up probably at some point. I wouldn't doubt if we see Boba in some sort of. I don't know. There's plenty to figure out. Like, did he technically bathe? Does he still got to bathe in the water? Does he got to say the whole thing? He's still got to bathe. Then he's going to go back to the other Mandalorians. They're not going to believe that. He's going to be like, guys, I went back and I saw mythosaurs. They're going to be like, get the fuck out of my face. They're not going to believe that, so
technically though,
every woman on this show is annoyed with Din.
Yeah.
Meet Din Djarin.
They are
the most eligible bachelor in space.
He's really good.
Everybody except Pelly.
Then she ripped him off. She doesn't respect him either.
Fucking sold him the worst droid on the planet.
Yeah, take R5. Take him.
I love her little scam
off.
she's got set
Get
up,
the
though.
Fuck out of here.
She's got that chop shop going.
Oh, yeah, they're just
Buy your
repainting.
parts
Just repainting the parts. That's awesome. Yeah,
hang on. We didn't. And another person that might be coming back, too, Cobb Vanth, because there's no way, because this is supposed to be a year after the Book of Boba Fett.
Right.
So he still can't. He's got to be done his long soak in the tub,
healed, right? Sure.
He's got to be healed at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him again.
Yeah. I mean, I think, if you're putting together, it's not Star Wars till you have your group of 5 or 6 in some sort of ship, right? And I would like to see an adventure at some point with Mando, Bo-Katan, Grogu, Cobb Vanth,
R5.
Boba Fett.
Dude,
yeah.
R5 fetting
My favorite and yours. Apparently, no one's favorite.
I think that would be very funny if, for no reason, Mandalorian keeps R5 for the entire rest of the season, and he's just always like literally not doing a fucking thing, but like
just freaking
cowering in the corner.
We send him ahead of us.
He's like, please. He's like constantly like, "Hey, please take me home." And Mandalorian's like, "Nope, you are home, buddy."
Yeah, I love it when he says
ship.
like, "Stop being a baby and go take a look."
He says that to a droid.
Stop acting like a baby. I was like, and someone on that show was watching our show. I swear to God.
Yeah. Hey, I do want to order that R5 Hot Toys set though.
Oh, with the pit droids?
I pre-ordered it.
Yeah. Did you?
I saw it.
Yeah. So when it dropped, it was like a couple months ago. It dropped for pre-order, and I was like, I'm buying this now because I feel like they're going to make a Peli.
Yeah. Yeah. And you'll need all those droids if they do.
Right. So, and I was like, if you get, it was just completed. So I need Peli.
I'm laughing at Abby's thinking she's crawling behind Craig in the background.
Yeah, I know. She does that.
Sneaky. She's very sneaky.
Little pit droid's cool.
Yeah, the pit droid's cool. The BD's cool.
Wait, is this the set? I'm looking at.
They got 2 sets. So there's a set of 3 and there's a set of 2.
Oh, okay. I didn't see the set of 2. I saw this is the one I saw. The three.
Well,
right. R5's in the back.
He's in the back.
They should have done a set of 2 pit droids. If they're gonna do the 3-pack like that, you need a set of 2 pit droids. Unless Peli Moto comes with another pit droid.
You should. I bet she will, but they should just sell those as kind of like an accessory pack because they got to be pretty small. You know how big is the pit droid?
Like.
Where's everyone laughing? How I'm not sneaky?
Yeah.
Yes.
Look over it. I'm a human being. I do 2 podcasts. I drink 2 cups of coffee.
But that's fine. I'm just saying you don't have to try to sneak. We see you.
Well, I feel like it'd be worse if I just like slowly strolled past. Am I even?
It's 100% more distracting when you're hunched over.
Whatever.
I think it's cute.
Thank you. I think
this is
part
awesome.
of the show.
Yeah, this is cool. Like I do like this. But this idea of this ragtag group that's like, your original group is Luke, Han, Chewie, R2, C-3PO, Leia, and now it's like Cobb Vanth, Bo-Katan, R5, like
the droid that blew up in A New Hope just because somebody talked to it.
I think that's what I love too. It's just like, hey,
so funny.
Hey, we should take the red one. I think I'm just gonna go back in the Sandcrawler. Boof.
Well, Ryan, you weren't here at the beginning, but Abby talked about what was it?
It was how he was force sensitive, and there's like a story written about that's no longer considered canon about
but that he self-destructed on purpose.
Yeah, that it was exactly that R2 sent him a message that he intercepted and was like, I must sacrifice myself so that R2D2 can successfully complete this mission.
Yeah, that is now
he's the most important character.
Sure.
Yeah, that's not true.
I saw that postulated. And
yeah,
I'm learning that it's probably fan fiction.
Okay. Man, this episode had a lot. So we're about done here. Let's wrap this up and talk about what we think we're going to be seeing for the rest of this season. As far as like, what do we think?
We just did that.
I know, but as far as just
there's going to be. They're gonna go to the back.
Jacob's being the Bo-Katan this episode.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit of necking.
Oh yeah. Do we? Okay. Let me rephrase this. Next week, what is the immediate next steps? Like, what is the next thing that is it? Him going back to the armor? You think?
I wonder. I don't know. I wonder what his mindset is going to be if he's. Because like he's really, really, really adamant about, retaking that oath and being in the water. And it's like, well, you're there. Do you just do that really quick? Or like, do you not go in because you know that the mythosaur's in there? Like, I don't know. I feel like it's probably him going back to to home base.
Right.
And trying to, I don't know, tell them what's up or
tell what's going.
Hey, I'm chosen, y'all.
And I think
wait, you're right. It's like more reason for everybody to just get like, okay, sure. Now all of a sudden you're the chosen, you're good at everything.
That's funny.
You got the dark saber, and now you fucking saw him
Hooked up
for
with
the
Cara
first
one
time in
on a
history.
blurg.
I think that conversation between Bo-Katan and Grogu, where she was talking about the Jedi, I think we're gonna start. I think there might be a point where Mando realizes that Grogu does need to fulfill some level of his Jedi training. And
Well, he ain't hiding that Jedi-ness. He's doing a lot of Force stuff, and he's really good at it. So
yeah.
Yeah, because Bo acknowledges that he's like really good at finding his way on his own and like has just attuned to directions and such.
I can imagine Bo teaching Grogu how to. I mean, she knows how to wield the darksaber, which is a lightsaber. It would be cool to see her doing like a little bit of training with him here and there, teaching him how to fight or something.
Yes, and also with Din Djarin, which is why there would be a romantic spark. They would just be montage fighting all the time.
Also, speaking of montage fighting, this is a horrible segue. The trailers for this season did show some classic Order 66. So I think we're going to find out who rescued Grogu. I think we're going to finally find that out.
I also think, and
Ooh,
speaking of Grogu, I think he's going to say his first word this season.
Yeah,
we talked about that earlier.
All right,
he's 100% gonna talk.
Let's get the bet going. What will Grogu's first word be? Let's do a little pool.
Oh, I hope it's fun.
Why does Yoda have normal eyes and why are mine all black? That's the first thing he's gonna ask.
Somebody asked
Yeah.
he's not gonna speak in riddles. Like that was specifically because Yaddle doesn't speak.
That was
riddles.
specific to Yoda.
Yoda's
just an asshole.
Yeah.
No, it's the other way around.
He's gonna be like,
Yaddle's the asshole.
Fucking eggs.
Yeah, I think Grogu.
It's gonna be food. Food.
Frogs.
Oh man.
I think he's gonna say, Dad, Din.
Yeah,
I bet he will.
Daddy
Dad
Din.
or something like that.
Daddy Din. That's what Abby
That's what we're saying. That's what Bo's saying.
He's gonna say Daddy Daycare, and then they're gonna
Yeah.
have to go rent it with Eddie Murphy. Daddy Daycare.
It's either gonna be something really sweet like Dad, or it's gonna be like a joke,
like a funny joke. Right?
Feed me or something. You know.
I hope it's something more emotional. To be honest.
Yeah.
I like it when the show tugs my heartstrings, but I also like it when it tugs my hormones and there's making out. So with that said, I want romance back in my Star Wars.
I mean, Grogu is 50. He's of age.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Ryan.
Whoa.
Ryan, I said earlier, I think it would be really great. I want when Grogu starts talking, I hope they just do it like South Park, like Ike in South Park, and just cast like a 2-year-old to just say random words.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be down with that.
A. Troy says he should say execute Order 66 and then go after Luke and Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Perfect.
He's got to inhibit his chip. All right,
Did you guys watch Bad Batch?
I did.
Yeah,
it's fucking
Holy
awesome.
Shit.
Ryan, how great. Like in the beginning of the episode, I was like, oh, okay, this is a little bit slow, but holy shit.
Man, that
There
was like
was-
some of the best. That was Andor level Star Wars in animated form.
The
Like,
love, the
holy
loss,
shit.
the companionship between the two characters, which I don't even want to mention because it was like just a big thing happened if you care about the Bad Batch.
Well,
characters.
tell us.
The Crosshair episodes this
Crosshair
season is
defected. It's fucking awesome. Like he came to
God.
the light and saw that.
and that symbolism with the bird
The
at the
Empire's-
end.
Yes,
Just,
I think you'd really like the episode. It's fucking
it was so good.
just good.
Cool. Yeah.
Mhm.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
It's good when Star Wars is good. No, it's good when Star Wars is good.
No, I
It
agree.
is.
No, it is.
It
It
is.
really hit.
But it
I was
surprises
not.
you like that.
Yeah, I was not expecting it to come in swinging like that at all.
Mm-mm.
Right.
Like
I
just
shouted
was
at
not.
Craig because he was there for the beginning of the episode. I was like, "Hey, it's getting good. You want to come in?"
Finally, the show's getting good.
No, I was
Well,
like,
here's
so-
the-
I was
sorry,
like, so-
I'm just-
well, it's okay, it's okay. But you're right though. They do have episode like Monster of the Week missions with
I
Sid,
think
and that
the
gets really
seasons-
kind of boring for
I
me.
think those seasons are too
but
long.
this is like reconnecting with the original story of like the original 5 guys. One
Right.
Yeah.
leaves, and now you've wondered what was going to happen to him, and now they're addressing that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
it could be that the original
The
group
Crosshair episodes this season, where it's just Crosshair, you don't see any of the rest of the Bad Batch,
Mm-hmm.
have been so good.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're just so good. Like every time like one of the Crosshair episodes end, I'm just like clutching my pearls and going like, "What did I just watch?"
Tugging on my hormones.
Well,
Yeah.
no. Hunter needs to make out with someone.
It's weird to
Oh,
me, and it's
yeah.
weird. I don't even really want to get into this conversation because we're an hour into this, and this could be an entire episode on itself.
Mm-hmm.
But it is weird to me that Star Wars is so like we all really, really love Star Wars, and there's a lot of it. But it's so weird to me how a show, even one, it could happen in one show, it could happen in a series of films, goes from being like the worst thing, not the worst thing, the best thing you've ever seen, and like make you feel so emotional, and then be like really bad for a while. It's just weird. You know what I mean? Because like I tried to watch Bad Batch. I kind of hated it. And I was like, I can't watch this. And you guys are talking about this episode like it's really great. And I believe you that it's really great. Clone Wars was the same way. Some of the other shows are the same way. We watched Boba Fett and we were like, what the fuck is this? And then you cut over to Mandalorian and you're like, this is perfect. It's so weird that it can jump back.
It ebbs and flows.
So
it goes
easily.
into Star Wars can live in the highest of highs and then dip into mediocrity really quickly.
Yeah.
It's just a weird phenomena that I don't know.
But even the mediocrity of like Star Wars can sometimes have a gem in there that you focus
100%.
on.
Yeah.
Like it happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Sure.
I can sit there and go, those damn mods in Book of Boba Fett, what the hell? And at the same time I go, man, I want the toys.
So true.
I mean,
right?
I've said it a million times. My favorite Star Wars moment in all of Star Wars is in the movie that I hate. It's in my least favorite Star Wars movie.
Solo?
My favorite, no. Last Jedi is my least favorite Star Wars movie. It's got my favorite Star Wars moment of all time in it.
Yep.
Kylo with his shirt off.
Kylo with his shirt off. Yeah.
That's my favorite.
High-waisted pants.
Before we end, I do want to ask everybody if you're here. By the way, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. We're going to be doing this every Thursday night with a revolving cast of characters. Ryan, thanks for jumping in. We know how passionate you are about Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on bell notifications so you can know when we have a new video or we go live. But definitely like this video, leave a comment if you're watching this after the fact, or if you're listening on the audio feed. We appreciate that as well. Our plan, so just a little history lesson, like we started doing Toy Anxiety on the original channel and toy content kind of took over. But YHS, the core podcasting unit of myself, Abigail, and Jacob, and all of our friends that join us for our various shows, exists here on this channel now, the YHS podcast channel. And this is where we're going to have all of our Star Wars streams. We're going to be doing some Ghostbusters live streaming, the weekly YHS podcast episodes, and so on and so on. So we appreciate you being here. And we hope that you have an awesome rest of the week. Great weekend coming up. And we'll be back next week talking about more Mandalorian. And that's a good thing. I'm excited.
Yeah,
it's
can't
early in the
wait.
season.
Me too.
There's
It's good.
There's going to be one of those episodes where we go, oh, I can't believe they did this.
I was a little nervous last week, even though I didn't think it was a bad episode, but it felt really messy for a premiere episode. It felt really weird to me, and I was like, oh no, are we done? Are we done with Mandalorian? But I thought this week's episode was great, and it was just as good as any of the episodes in season 1 and 2. So
yeah, for sure.
And I love Star Wars mythos. And I love how they take those Star Wars mythos from old novels and old comics, and Dave Filoni and Favreau start to weave them in to make them official canon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Same.
Yeah.
But hey, also like with the way things go, I won't be surprised if Din just tries to kill the mythosaur, because that's what he does with every other native wildlife he runs into.
Grogu's gonna try to eat it.
Just kill it. What, Ryan?
I think someone's gonna ride that damn thing. They've been teasing it since
100%.
Yeah.
He's gonna
chapter
ride
1.
100%. He's riding it.
He's gonna ride it,
and I can't wait. Hey, that's your new HasLab. It's a mythosaur.
Good call. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, 5 years later. Sad
we're all
sad comment music.
We're all expecting listen, this is how, real quick, this is how right Jacob is right now, and this is how dumb we are. We're talking about It's gonna be an Ewok village.
It is though. I confirmed it.
It's gonna be a death. It's 100%
They
gonna
have
be
it.
it's gonna be a vintage collection mythosaur. That's
Yeah.
100%, and it's gonna be like $190,
Mm-hmm.
and it's gonna come with
I might buy
Another
one.
din.
It's gonna come with a din
Yeah.
darted that you can
With
dip
a
in water.
a soft goods cape.
Soft goods cape.
That you can
And,
take off.
Yeah,
So
it's
you
gonna
can
come
just-
with
And the mythosaur floats, so it's like a bath toy.
yeah.
I want a bath toy mythosaur.
That's
You
cool.
squeeze it and it sucks in water, so you can like press it and it like spits the water out.
Jake,
Yeah.
I'm ahead of you on this. Even better, a rideable pool toy of the mythosaur.
It's a HasLab.
Yeah.
Not even as a HasLab.
It's a pool float.
in-
No.
Just in
That's
general.
the Comic-Con exclusive. Comic-Con exclusive is the mythosaur
Right, because
pool
did they not
float.
just do
Yeah.
a pool floaty thing for the last celebration? I swear they did. They had a
Well,
pool
there-
floaty something.
Well, there was a Death Star beach ball in the Comic-Con like box from, or was it Comic-Con? It was the Star Wars Celebration box from like
Oh yeah, there's
Right,
a beach
a
ball.
couple like yeah.
But they did the
I love
pod
it.
racers and the Naboo Starfighter and all that stuff as pool toys that you float on and you relax and sit on. I like, you know how people have those inflatable unicorns they ride at the pool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do that, but the mythosaur. Right? I want to see 100 men riding one mythosaur during Pride weekend in the pool.
Yeah.
TMNT
That's what I
Dad
want.
says, "Well, there's no new toy anxiety. I just binge old toy anxiety." Thank you.
That's
Oh,
so nice.
Thank you.
TMNT Dad.
That's really nice. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
But yeah, I 100% think we'll get a mythosaur toy of some sort. Maybe it won't be a HasLab, but we'll.
When we
I know
finally get the
Patrick is
HasLab.
watching.
Mhm.
Right? Yes. You know they're watching.
Just Patrick.
He's got
help
us
out.
blocked.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He does
Well,
not.
Listen,
Friend.
we appreciate you guys being here. We'll see you next week. For Jacob Walsh, Abigail Gardner, Ryan Dole. My name is Craig Goldberg. I think Jake Stevens is going to join us next week.
Cool. Very
He
good.
Cool.
did Geek Dad's Mando show last night. Couldn't do
What?
ours.
Wow, everybody's
Traitor.
everybody's talking in the Midnight Mando chat on Instagram, but nobody's here but us for it. So.
Yeah.
We're gonna start
Kicking people out of that
Yeah.
chat.
There's not gonna be any room for him on our inflatable mythosaur.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye.
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 y'all.
Happy Boonta Eve.
Go take a bath in the living waters. But you know, you don't actually have to like